Hey, it's Brian Mudd. Welcome to my cheat sheet for Wednesday, September 21st. If you go to Google, you're going to notice Google Plus somewhere. And if you're not familiar with what Google Plus is and has been in its beta testing over the past few months, it's a social media site that is ready to take on Facebook. Facebook actually thinks Google Plus is credible enough that tomorrow they're going to come out with a new overhaul with all kinds of new features and things that are supposed to keep you excited about Facebook so that you don't get distracted by the shiny new object in the room being Google Plus and start spending more time on that social media site than you do on Facebook. But it looks like for the first time in some time, since MySpace was viable, Facebook has a real challenger. So if you're a social media fan, check out Google Plus and you can decide for yourself. It is ready for prime time starting today. Comcast. This is something that's really cool. I talked about this when it was a pilot program that started in a few different cities. The closest to us was in Miami earlier this year. Well, yesterday Comcast announced a national program. So anywhere there's Comcast service, which obviously includes our area, for low-income families, you're eligible for $9.99 internet service, broadband internet service for $9.99 a month. They expect to start 2.5 million households that are in low-income situations with broadband internet over the course of the next year. If those families need a computer, they've got it covered there too. They are going to sell computers to use the broadband internet for $150. In other words, Comcast isn't making a penny on this program, and it is something that could help benefit, obviously, lower-income households. And even from an education standpoint, we know that access to the internet does help supplement education. So, big win, I think, for Comcast. Good move. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund. All right, so, I mean, probably the last time you heard IMF, it was something about a chief and a hooker and a hotel or something like that. But anyway, let's get away from that. The IMF actually does have a big role in the world economy. They kind of stand up from 30,000 feet and take a look over all the countries. What they said yesterday was not good. They said that the world right now is at a dangerous inflection point. They downgraded the U.S. growth rate, by the way, below that of what the U.S. government recently projected. I keep telling you, you cannot trust one single number you get from the U.S. government. All these projections are based on two highly optimistic growth rates. So everything you hear the president's plan, everything from you hear from the Congressional Budget Office, that is a pie-in-the-sky rosy picture that's not really happening. The IMF was saying that yesterday. They also said that with Europe on the brink of a recession, they're really concerned that there could be a worldwide recession sometime next year. So in other words, we've really got to do our level best to get our ship straight and to keep our economy out of recession over the rest of the year, because we need to be well positioned here in case the worst case scenario does play out in Europe. We don't want to find ourselves being taken down to a very bad place because we were in a weakened state when Europe ended up getting into their own crisis. All right, let's get away from that and talk about somebody else's crisis that's not ours, Netflix. Man, I have never seen a company torpedo itself the way Netflix has. 2 months ago, Netflix was trading at $304 a share. Everybody loved it. Everybody was using it. Today, $130 a share. They've lost more than 50% of the company's value, $170 plus a share over the course of 2 months since they announced their brilliant idea to raise prices and to now split the two divisions of the company into pieces. There are estimates out there. I mentioned recently that they've lost 1 million customers in the last month. There's now an estimate out there that they could lose 30% of all of their customers by the end of the year. And they've done it to themselves. You want to talk about a miscalculation. Netflix, it's time for your mea culpa. You got to get out there and undo what you've done, or else you got a disaster on your hands. All right, Full Tilt. This was a scam. So say the feds. We've talked about the poker sites earlier this year. All of them were shut down that operated here in the U.S. Or for U.S. customers offshore. Full Tilt in particular, feds are saying might have been the biggest scam. Your money, when you loaded it up on Full Tilt to play poker, it wasn't actually there. Apparently, the people running Full Tilt Poker, when receipts came in, like if you deposited money, they were using it for their own purposes. I mean, it would show you on the screen that you had X amount of money, and that's what you'd play poker with. But the reason why some people had problems getting money back when they were trying to redeem it, said it wasn't there. People running the company were using it. What a mess. Anyway, hope you didn't get caught up in full tilt, but lesson learned to be sure. Single-serve coffee, what does it have in common with e-reading? Market share. Single-serve coffee now accounts for 8% of all coffee being consumed in the United States, and it's expected that as Starbucks gets on board by the end of the year with single-serve coffee, that it's going to grow by 15% next year and could head to as much as 30% of all coffee being consumed in the United States by 2015. So apparently we're into the single-serve thing. Chinese and tobacco. This is bad news, and we're going to, there's nothing we can do except for take a look at what they're doing and try not to replicate it and put pressure. China is now advertising tobacco products in schools to kids. My favorite sign read that the key to being genius is education, and tobacco makes you smarter. Okay, now, how about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or something? Hey, anyway, that's my cheat sheet for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy.